Because after I would make those calls to 300 people with that script, with that value add, it would bring in about $30,000.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
I think that's one of the things that you're also talking about is like when people think about growing the database, there's like this perceived pain or this negative connotation to it.
Yes.
But you have to make it fun
100%.
by implementing into your daily routine. And while you're out, you're prospecting. You're not going out to prospect. You're already there and you're just taking the opportunity as it presents. Because you don't make it weird by saying you're in real estate because you're connecting with that person, right?
Absolutely. And I want to jump into it because, Peter, that's a great way. I think that making it weird, there's so much anxiety and resistance to that. And there's fear. It's just call it what it is. It's fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of coming off as the typical, multi-level marketer, right? That just wants to just go in there and go for the kill without even like, who are you? Like, what do you want? No, another one of those, I don't want any Amway. I don't want any, whatever it is. That's the fear. That's the fear. People think that they're going to come off that way, right? So I guess my first recommendation to folks is, this is not, if you're doing it that way, you're doing it wrong, right? And let me just say, that stuff works. I know people do that every day and they're doing well. So power to them, good for them. But if you're in real estate and you want to take that same approach, my opinion is you're doing it wrong, right? I don't think you're doing it the right way. The way that I was able to get, and I'm going to jump into it, because step number 3, guys, is working the database, communicating with that database. And I'm going to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about the scenario you guys described of getting people in that database, because that's a script and it's a value-focused script. When you're communicating with your database, and I did this, the most I did this was 4 times in a year, but it was typically 3 times in a year. 3 times. That was it, right? I would find a way, set up some time. It was usually 2 to 3 days. I would do this for 2-3 days straight, and I would call everyone in that database. I forced myself to pick up the phone, make the phone call, and I didn't call and say, do you want to buy or sell a house? Because that would have been a huge waste of time. That's not what I wanted. I would always start with value. And for me, it was about inviting them to my next event. That was how I got over the hump of why am I going to call 200 people that I know? These aren't 200 random people, 300 random people. I know all of these folks. A lot of them worked with me at Microsoft. A lot of folks I met through the sports league or my neighbors or friends of friends. I'm like, I'm not going to, what am I going to say to them that it's going to make it easier to make that call and make it valuable for them and get to the ask? And I'll get to that in a sec. But the thing that made it unbelievably easy for me to make that call was I had something valuable to give them. And for me, if you guys haven't noticed, I like talking, right? I'm pretty good in front of a group. I would teach a class. And I was too dumb to realize you could do this virtually, by the way. This is a great story. I would teach, one of the classes I taught multiple times was investing in real estate. I would call all my database. Hey guys, I'm doing investing in real estate. I had a lot of rentals in Seattle. I'm going to talk about my latest rental, how it went, and I'm going to teach you how to get some on your own. People would show up to that, right? Not 50 people, but 10 people would show up to that. And I would do the class. One time, this is towards the end of my run as an active real estate agent. One guy said, Gus, I can't make it because they were working at Microsoft. They work late sometimes. It's normal. And they said, Gus, hey, can you turn on Skype, point a laptop at me and let me watch the class virtually? And I was like, well, because I was thinking, I actually want you to be here in person. I'm like, well, why not, man? So literally a buddy of his brought a laptop, turned it on, and he watched the class from Skype, right, on a camera in a classroom. And, and then, later, because you guys, we have a friend in common, Brad Vanderwall, who's amazing, made an industry out of this, of teaching people on Zoom, doing an amazing job at teaching first-time home buyers how to buy a home via Zoom. Like a boom. I wish I was as smart as that, but that you can do it so many ways now.
Gus is dropping bombs there. This is the future you're unveiling.
100%. Guys, you are an expert in the field. If you're listening to this and you're in real estate, believe it. What you see and do every day, you're taking the pulse of the market. You're seeing what's going on, right, in the trenches. That's valuable to your audience. This database, I want you to think of it as an audience as well. It's not just your database. You want to communicate with it. You want to give it value. You want to build. You want to get them to know, like, and trust you even more. They already do, but you want to do it even more. One way I did it, I'd always find something interesting to talk about, and I'd do a class on it. That was my thing. I did an ice cream social one time. Literally, I got my conference room in my brokerage office, got a bunch of ice cream. We just hung out and just talked about whatever, right? Ice cream social. I did a pie giveaway. I gave away pies for Thanksgiving. You need some budget for that. That was not a cheap thing to do. I got a really nice restaurant in my town. In the area of town that I lived in, I got the bar. We kind of rented it out, and we had everyone in my database that I invited to go there, hors d'oeuvres and drinks, right, for a couple hours. That was another event. You need budget for that too. When you're starting out, you just need a Zoom account and do a virtual class, and they can attend from wherever, right? It doesn't really. Here's a kicker, guys. When you're calling through your database and you're providing some value, it doesn't really matter what it is. Yeah, right? It just has to have that. You have to perceive it as valuable, whether it's a class, it's a refrigerator magnet, it's a stuffed teddy bear, it's whatever it is. It doesn't really matter, because it just has to be perceived value. Because the most important part of the script is the second part, which I call the ask. It's the ask. And this is where you actually ask them for business, right? And again, even that part you want to phrase the right way. Like, hey, so I'm going to go through a really simple version of this script. Hey there, Andrew, this is Gus. By the time I did this, like the third, fourth year, I mean, people were expecting my call, Andrew. If I'm calling you 3 times a year like clockwork, like, hey, Gus, how's it going? Okay, they were expecting my call. Andrew, how's it going? Hey, we're going strong here. The market is going crazy. But you know what? I just want to call you and invite you to my next class. I'm going to be teaching a class, and next week around the top, how to win in this crazy, how to win a crazy bidding war. And I'm going to go step by step, Andrew. I'm going to deconstruct how I won a situation where there were 25 competing offers and we knocked it out of the park. I'm going to actually go step by step with that. If you think that's an awesome topic, if you're interested in that, I'd love for you to attend. I would love to ask you, who else do you know that might be interested in a class like that? A class on winning a bidding war, right? I love making these things real estate related, because they might invite people that, I'm not thinking of buying anytime soon, but my buddy Charlie might, right? I'll send them the invitation. Great. That was the invite. That was a value add. And then I went with the ask. That's awesome. Andrew, I appreciate you. I love you, man. And I want to ask for your help in building my business. I really need you. Supported me all these years. I love you for that. That's amazing. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Who do you know that might need some help, right? Buying a home, selling a home. They might be thinking of getting some additional rental income through investing. Who do you know that I can help, Andrew? That's it, guys. End of story. But that part, you have to, my recommendation is to ask for help. That's the way I did it. Ask them for help
in
Gus,
building how many people did you have say no?
Okay, that's amazing. So in 3 years doing this, what was it? Between 9 and 12 times I did it in 3 years. Not one person said no, right? Not one person. They didn't always have someone to refer to me, that's expected. That's normal. That's fine. But I planted that seed. I would get referrals for weeks, for months from that, right? When they actually did think about, oh man, let me think about that. Oh yeah, you know what? I found someone for you guys. I found someone for you because I know you're going to be calling me next month. So I'm going to beat you to the punch, and I got someone, for you this time, right? So they're never going to say no, guys. They're just never, ever, ever going to say no. They might not have anyone there for you in that moment, but that's fine. That's great. You know what, Andrew? I appreciate that you took the time to think about that. As always, anyone you send over to me is going to be my VIP. I'm going to take care of them the same way I took care of you, whatever the relationship is. You know me, I'm going to do my best for them, right? So anytime you have anyone that comes into your sphere that that needs some help, I hope you're going to remember me and recommend me. Thank you so much for that. Boom. That's it, right? So take that and make that yours. Find your version of that. But I would always tell the people on my team, it has to be an ask. You have to include the ask. The whole point of the phone call is the ask. The whole point of the event you're putting on It's not even I would call 300 people and have 10 people attend an event. Maybe 15, 20 people attend an event. It didn't matter. I'd still make 300 phone calls, right? My goal was 300 asks, not 10 people in my class. Who cares who goes to the class? 5 people might go to the class. 2 people might go to the class, right? Doesn't matter, guys. Once you remove yourself from the end result, it takes a lot of the anxiety around events, right? You might get, how many people are going to show up? It didn't matter because I nailed it by making that call 300 times, 300 invitations. How much did it cost me? My time. That was it, right? And when you're starting out in real estate, if you don't have a ton of money, you have a ton of time. So, and this is one of the activities. This was I think it was like a $1,000 an hour activity for me when I was in that stage in my career. $1,000 an hour. Because after I would make those calls to 300 people with that script, with that value add, it would bring in about $30,000 in the next 30, 60 days. Like that, guys, like that. And this is Seattle from 8 years ago, probably a quarter of the price point it is right now, or 10% or whatever it's worth now. Right now, those phone calls are even more valuable than they were back then. But the same principle still applies. Find a way to get those folks, talk to them, invite them, give them something valuable, give it to them, and you got to make that ask. That ask is the whole point of making that phone call.
And if you're listening to this and you're going to go, this is old, drawn out stuff from years ago, like it won't work anymore. It's like
100%.
Just bullshit. It's just an absolute excuse for you to just not do the work. Like this stuff still works today. We still know people doing it today. We've got guests coming on, check in, stay tuned, more podcasts coming, people, doing this stuff right now. It still works. Gus, had his boots on the ground then, had his team, has his boots on the ground just in another way now, still sees people crushing it. I'm sure he's got plenty of clients in Seattle crushing it.
So check this out, Andrew. I love this. So I was 3 years active within the real estate market, but I made the call 4 years. And here's why. I had moved. I was in Mexico at the time. I was living outside the US. I was starting a brand new venture, building a new company. I still made the calls that year, and I closed 17 transactions while I wasn't living in the US anymore. 17 real estate transactions, guys. And again, I ended up referring those out. That is like, so if you're going to tell me that you're going to find an excuse that why this doesn't work, guys, I could be sitting in a beach somewhere in Mexico in a nice little, not a big church, not a nice beach in Mexico, making 3 calls 3 times a year, living a pretty decent lifestyle. I wouldn't be a millionaire. But man, I could just go retire and work that same list for years, and I would still close deals from that, right? Because that kind of a methodology works, right? People value relationships. People want to work with you. They want to help you. And this was I had built enough rapport, trust, and confidence with this list that not every single person, because I closed less transactions, it was about half. That's understandable. But half of the people were still willing to work with me, even because I was referring them out to my referral partner who was amazing. I vouched for that person and they delivered. It was like, oh, sure, Gus, because it's from you, right? So remember that personal relationship, that personal connection matters a lot. And you have a huge advantage over the Zillows, the Redfins, the iBuyers, the Open Doors, because you have that personal relationship. It starts with that. And everything, you have to have a great offer. All these things apply, but it starts with that huge, it's what's the right word for it? It is an unfair advantage you have against these massive corporations, that you have the personal connection.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, we're giving access to a private training we did where we revealed the top 3 niches to get listings today completely for free. So if you want access, you can go and download that training at eliteagentsecrets.com. We're regularly releasing new trainings, guides, and cheat sheets, so make sure to head over to eliteagentsecrets.com and sign up so you don't miss out.